Hello students, let's continue with the graphs of some basic mathematical functions. In the last session, we have seen the 5 basic functions and their graphs. In today's session, we will see more 5 to them. The first we have is a linear function. Now what is a linear function? Linear function is basically f of x equal to ax plus b, where the degree of x will always be equal to 1. And these kind of graphs will always be a straight line. They are called as linear function because it will be a polynomial but with the degree strictly to be 1. If you see in the power of x, we have only 1 and hence they will be always a straight line. The next we have is a squaring function. Squaring function is if we want to take square of any number, how do we take? It is if I want to take a square of 5, we take 5 square, that is 5 into 5. So that will be f of x equal to x square. And such graph will always be a parabola. The next we have is a cubic function. Cubic function is f of x equal to x cube. But when we will see the graph of this function, it will lie on both the sides. That is, it will lie on the negative side also as well as on the positive side. Next is your square root function. Square root is f of x equal to root of x, taking square root of any given number. Here, the graph will be always positive for both x and f of x. Whether the number that is been asked or the square root of that number, both of them will always lie on the positive side. The last we have is a reciprocal function. Now, what is a reciprocal function? Reciprocal is basically taking inverse of any number. Inverse as in if I want to find, if I have x and if we want to find out reciprocal or inverse of x, that is 1 divided by x. It becomes an inverse and these kind of functions are called as your reciprocal functions. Now let's see these functions one by one and their graphs in GeoGebra. We have to define those functions in our input area, which is this right over here onto the left hand side. Let's input them. Click here, give the name f x equal to. The first function, we will define the linear function. All right. Linear function was ax plus b, where a and b are your real number and x is your unknown variable. So ax plus b. Coming here, look at this straight line right over here. As we have seen that the linear function will always be a straight line. Depending on the value of a and b, that straight line will change, but it will always be a straight line. Let's give them the label as name and value. With that, we can see the name given to it and as well as the value of it. Yes, which is this right over here. Moving to the next one, the next function that we have is our squaring function. Let's take g of x equal to x square. See, we have g of x equal to x square right over here, which is our parabola, which will always result in your parabola. Again, let's change the label to name and value. And with this, we can see the value also. The next function that we have is a cubic function. So let's take h of x equal to, we want cube, so x to the power 3. We have seen it that this x cube will always lie on both the sides negative as well as positive. Hence, it is completely lying. If you see, it is going upwards and where both the axis x and y are giving us positive signs. Whereas when it is going downwards, here both the x and y axis are negative. So the cubic function will always lie on both sides negative as well as the positive. Let's give them the label. Let's change the color also so that I'm changing the color. Yes. Moving on to the next one. The next we have is a square root function. Square root function, let's give the name, sorry, I of x equal to square root. For square root, if you see right over here in this corner, clicking here, we can see the square root. This is like a scientific calculator. So if you see here, we have a square root symbol. Clicking here and we have square root of x. Let's close this. And check here, we have a square root of x. This will, we have seen that the square root function will always lie on the positive side. So it is completely onto the positive side of both the x as well as y axis. Let's change the label. Right click on it, move to settings, label, name and value. Let's change the color also of this one. All right. So this is our I of x. All right. Now moving to the last function, that is a reciprocal function. For reciprocal function, we have reciprocal function is basically taking inverse of any number. If I want to take inverse of x, so that is 1 divided by x. See, we have it right over here. One, if you see here, there are two lines. One is here inverse and the another one is right over here. I'll change the color of them. With the similar colors, we cannot actually identify of them. All right. Yes. If you see these two green lines, these are a reciprocal function. I hope it is clear with everyone how to draw the graphs in GeoGebra. It is very easy. You have to just input into the input area, input bar, and then immediately whatever the graph it is reflecting onto the graphic view, right? Do practice these examples and do complete the assignments. I hope the basic concepts and the introduction of GeoGebra is clear with everyone. Thank you.